Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Feh Chat, a series where I bring up some topics regarding Fire Emblem Heroes to have a casual discussion with you guys. First will be the new Bridal Banner, which comes very soon after our last banner. Next, I want to touch on a few thoughts about the diversity of skills in Fire Emblem Heroes, and then at the end, I want to talk about my experiences using Ishtar, who I was lucky enough to get on the previous banner. Let's dive right in. So just like the Spring Festival, we are continuing the trend of similar seasonal unit themes, and as such we have another Bridal Banner on our hands. This one includes Ninian, Sanaki, and Tharja. I am super excited to try and get Ninian, mainly because she is another flying dancer, and I did not get Flying Azura during New Year's. So many times I'm trying to clear maps, and I've thought about how much easier things would be with a flying dancer who can position much more freely than our infantry ones. As always, I believe you can never have too many dancers, their utility is just too good. Now Ninian is not only a flying dancer but a flying blue mage as well. Her stats are going to be pretty low, but regardless I'm just hoping for a decent amount of speed and I'll be happy with that. Sanaki is also a flying mage and she is a green mage. I would have to guess that she will retain a similar stat line to her infantry counterpart, and I'm betting Sanaki will have a very high attack stat, which would pair all too well with a blade tome. I've said it many times, but I fear Flyer Emblem the most, and it's worse when those teams have fully buffed up flying mages. Last, we have Tharja, who is a red mage, but is staying on the ground and is an infantry unit. I'm going to guess she'll be decently fast, but we'll have to see how different she is from her original form. As for all their skills, I had to reread them a bunch because we're dealing with even more new skills. Ninian's weapon is the Fresh Bouquet, and that means it's an inheritable weapon. I sort of glossed over this thing at first, but it's a really solid weapon. Similar to Ishtar's Odd Attack Wave, this is another skill that buffs ally stats and buffs the user stats as well. Fresh Bouquet requires Ninian to be next to an ally to proc this buff, unlike Odd Attack Wave, but regardless, you get a honed speed effect on a weapon. For a dancer, this is a great weapon. Ninian can buff a bunch of stats for her team if you pick appropriate C skills and Sacred Seals. As for her other skills, she comes with Dance, no surprise. Ninian introduces Chill Attack 3, which I believe is the final chill skill we needed. Again, for a dancer, this is a great base skill. Sure, Wings of Mercy might still be better for Arena, but PvE content or just training allies, Ninian is going to be an awesome utility unit. To make things even better, she also has Drive Speed, and that's very nice to have. Can be swapped out if you want, but if not, Ninian can buff allies with up to 7 speed, and that's really good for a base kit. Moving on to Sanaki, she actually has a unique weapon called Niffle Frost Flowers. This grants +3 attack, which again makes me think she will have a sky high base attack stat. Now I thought the next part was just an Owl Tome effect, but that is completely wrong. So Sanaki gets a combat boost or combat buff to her attack/speed depending on the number of allies within 2 spaces, and times that by 2. So one ally nearby is +2 attack/speed, 2 allies is +4 attack/speed, and the max this goes up by is for 3 allies for +6 attack and speed. This means no funny business in rival domains where you can put Sanaki in the middle of 7 other allies. Now, even though she doesn't get a defense/res boost like the Owl Tomes, Sanaki's allies only need to be within 2 spaces and not standing adjacent to her. It's a nice trade-off versus the Owl Tome effect, and another +6 attack and speed is going to be a lot of fun. Especially because Sanaki has attack/res bond, so if Sanaki is standing by at least one ally during a fight, that's another +5 attack and +5 res. We aren't done yet though, because Sanaki has a new B skill called Defense/Res Link, so you need to read carefully for this skill. If a movement assist skill is used by unit, aka Sanaki, or targets Sanaki, then she will get a +6 Defense/Res field buff for 1 turn. This buff also applies to the ally Sanaki targets or the ally that is targeting Sanaki with the assist skill. Basically, if Sanaki is involved in any movement assist skill, she herself and the other ally involved will get a +6 Defense/Res buff. That's why she comes with Drawback. Now to piece everything together here, Sanaki can potentially get +6 attack/speed from her weapon as a combat buff, +5 attack/res as a combat buff, and then +6 defense/resistance as a field buff. So that would be +11 attack, +6 speed, +6 defense, and +11 resistance. A lot of power if you utilize her whole kit. Last we have Tharja, and she also has a unique weapon called Muspel Fire Posy. It has the same effect as Sanaki's weapon, just it grants a flat +3 speed instead of attack. Instead of attack/res bond, Tharja has attack/speed bond, meaning she can potentially buff herself up to +11 attack and speed, and that's just in combat buffs only. Tharja's new B skill is called Speed Feint, and again requires a little bit of understanding. It's similar to the Link skill of Sanaki, but instead of a movement assist skill, Tharja needs to use or have a rally skill used on her. If that occurs, then from where Tharja is standing, she emits a -7 speed debuff in all cardinal directions, basically like a ploy type skill. You know how frustrating it can be to face an arena team that just rally buffs each other or repositions unpredictably? Yeah, well, the new Link skill and Feint skills are not going to help that out. The really scary part about these skills is that they affect the unit whether they are the user or the target, which means down the road, if you have a team revolving around these type of skills, then you could trigger multiple Feint skills at the same time. Worst would be an attack/speed version of the Link skill, because if you use that on an ally with the defense/res link, then theoretically both units just got +6 buffs to every stat. Overall, I'm going to try and get Ninian first because Flying Dancer OP, but the unique weapons and new skills of Sanaki and Tharja are also very interesting. There is a lot of setup needed, but I'm going to be on the lookout for what kind of splash these new B skills can make against our very powerful old favorites. Not to be forgotten, but we are finally getting a Marth ult, and it looks like he's going to be a Green Axe Cavalier, adding to our very small pool of them. As a Tempest Trial unit, I'm not expecting him to be super amazing, but we also have so little green Cavaliers that I think he'll be a nice addition to anyone's team. As for his interesting looking weapon, if it's inheritable, then I expect it to be similar to Ninian's buffing bouquet. If it's a unique weapon, then I would expect it to be like Sanaki's and Tharja's. Now, Marth's Falchion Refine is pretty heavily focused on ally buffing, so it wouldn't surprise me to see him come with some very team-oriented skills, such as the Bond skills or perhaps even different versions of the Link and Feint skills. I'm looking forward to the next Tempest Trials very much. For our second topic, I wanted to discuss the diversity of skills and heroes because I think it should be the next major thing Intelligent Systems focuses on in the future updates. Here I want to show you guys the distribution of a few skills based on how many units currently have them. So Swift Sparrow grants +4 attack and speed when initiating, and Death Blow grants +6 attack when initiating. Two of the best offensive A skills we have, and people use them a lot. Ideally, in a game where you should have some kind of balance among your options, we should have things to counteract these skills. Steady Stance grants +6 defense when attacked, and Warding Stance grants +6 resistance when attacked. Makes sense, right? You have a skill that boosts attack, and you have skills that boost defense. Well, let's just see how many ways you can find these skills. Alright, so Swift Sparrow can be found on 7 units naturally, all of them 5-star exclusives, mind you. Death Blow can be found on 9 units, 10 if you count Alphons. However, only 9 units you can use for inheritance, one of them being Klein to get the 3rd tier of Death Blow at 4 stars. Alright, so that's a bunch of units who come with these powerful offensive skills. Feels like we should have a decent amount of units with the same defensive options available to pull from. Ouch, only 2 units have Steady Stance, and the Black Knight is a Tempest reward. It can't possibly get any worse than that, right? Okay, so it got worse. Only 1 unit has Warding Stance, and Halloween Sakura is a limited time unit anyway. Even though the stance skills came out after Death Blow and even Swift Sparrow, this is just one example of why Arena is so focused on one-shotting. Trust me, there are other factors, but just to get simple defensive abilities is impossible in this game. New units keep coming out with these powerful offensive skills, so there's no need to replace them. Intelligent Systems just seems to ignore certain skills from appearing on common units, and with the way new units come out and are demoted, it's so difficult to get new skills without having to sacrifice the already rare 5-star units. This is sort of an answer to why certain skills like Fury, Desperation, Quick Riposte, and Vantage are on every build. Not only are these skills insanely powerful, but because they were here at the start, we have units who people can summon to get for inheritance. Even if Quick Riposte 3 is still not only a 4-star unit, it's so good at tier 1 and 2, and you can at least get Tsubaki as a 3 to 4-star at some point. I do think there are other skills that can compete with these old favorites, but many are impossible to get. Shield Pulse is such an interesting B skill, but it's only on Saber, who is extremely rare, and Fjorm, who is now on rotation on the legendary banners. The flat mix stat increasing A skills are also a complete joke to get. What if I just want attack/speed +2? Well, it's only from Nephany, who also is the only holder of Wrath. HP +4 and defense +2 is super simple, but I can't get that skill because it's from 1 Tempest Trials reward unit and 1 limited seasonal unit. It's a little insane. I'm not asking for more OP skills, I just want to actually get skills as they release and become older. I think some potential solutions is to either introduce a ton of new units of the less popular characters of the series who carry the newer skills, just like when the game started. Let's be honest though, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen, and at the rate we are going, we aren't going to get anywhere close to having most of the Fire Emblem cast in this game for many years. Another solution would be some kind of skill shop where you can directly purchase skills to give to units. Now, how that would work is your guess as much as mine. Many people have suggested something like this, and for the sake of diversity, it would maybe help the game. If the really good skills are too easy to get, however, well then obviously everyone is just going to choose to put distant counter on all their units. I don't think either of these are elegant fixes, but I am hoping Intelligent Systems has some kind of plan to address this. Trust me, I am very tired of suggesting Fury plus Desperation on every offensive ranged unit, or Quick Riposte on literally everything. It's nice to get new skills, but without an easier way to obtain them in the long run, people are just going to keep using what works and is feasible to attain. To get away from that rant, let's talk about Ishtar, the Goddess of Thunder. Now, Ishtar is kind of just a ridiculous unit. Amazing 34/36 offensive stat line that is pushed over the edge by her weapon Mjolnir and her skills. Mjolnir grants +6 speed when initiating, and Swift Sparrow grants +4, making Ishtar gain +10 speed just for initiating a fight. 46 speed is absurd already. I have a minus speed Ishtar, meaning she only reaches 43 speed, and that is still very impressive. I can at least give her a speed buff to get back to neutral. I can't even imagine a plus speed Ishtar with 49 speed when initiating. That is almost impossible to stop from doubling. As for Odd Attack Wave, it's a very good skill when it works, but it's inconsistent when it's working every other odd number turn. The best part is the self +6 attack buff to Ishtar herself, and that means neutral Ishtar when initiating with Odd Attack Wave active is at an effective 58 attack and 46 speed with Mjolnir. That is just disgusting. Regarding the other part of Mjolnir, the cooldown reduction part, I found that Quicken Pulse plus Moonbolt or Glimmer is pretty dirty. Instantly charged special, and because Ishtar can double reliably, she can proc Moonbolt or Glimmer twice if she is hit once. This makes Ishtar insanely hard to tank if you can't one-shot her, and if you can't counterattack back, well then you need a ton of speed to avoid her double potential. I'm not using gameplay of Ishtar in regular arena, but let's just say that with the +4 buff to everything, even my minus speed Ishtar rips through enemies. An insanely fun unit, and I've been thinking of just ditching her Vantage B skill for Desperation to fully focus on player phase power. For me personally, minus speed doesn't make her that great of a tank on enemy phase, so I figure I should just concentrate purely on initiating. That wraps up this episode of Feh Chat. I hope you guys enjoyed. As usual, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say regarding any of these topics, including any builds you have for Ishtar and even Lean and Ares, because I didn't get them. Their banner came and went so fast already. Good luck if you're summoning on the Bridal Banner. I believe it's out tonight and will last a whole month, so you got a lot of time to stock up on orbs. It's been a slow week for videos on my part, but I'm going to be doing my best to push out the half-finished videos that I've had time to think over. Hopefully you guys look forward to them, and I'll see you all in the next video.